Welcome everyone! This will be a quick little video showing you how I made my custom light for my E36. Hope you enjoy. First we'll have to remove the light, but before we do that, here's a little tip for all of you E36 owners. When this hood lift supports age, they tend not to work well and can't be trusted. So what you do is you unscrew this tiny bolt on the left side, and then you push these supports back, and there you go. The hood's first of all stuck and won't fall, and also it's lifted higher than stock. Okay, back to the light. To remove it, we're gonna need to remove the blinker. First I remove the light bulb, and then we pull a little tab in there and push the blinker out. The light is then held in with 4 screws, 2 up top and 2 at the bottom. To reach the last one, we need to remove this plastic cover. It's held in by 2 clips and 2 screws. Then we just unbolt the light and unplug the connectors. So far so good. The next step will be disassembling the light. These headlights are held together with tabs up top and on the bottom. Additionally, they are glued together. I used zip ties to hold these tabs open, and then I had to really pull to get it apart. I don't recommend pushing or pulling on these tabs, because you just may break one or two. Then we need to get the lens out of there. Lenses are glued in with silicone, so just use a box cutter or a scalpel. When I took the lens out, I put it on a piece of styrofoam, so that I can make a stencil and I know how big the frame for the neon light has to be. Because of the thickness of the strip, there's a maximum of how much you can bend it. So I put it on a stencil and used nails to hold it in place until I was happy with the shape. Then I marked it so I can have a stencil for the frame. I made a frame out of some 1/2 mm thick sheet metal I had lying around. I cut it into strips, bent it, and welded it together. To fit the strip to the frame, I used a reusable sticky seal thingy that they use for fitting RV windows. Give it a little test fire to see if it works. Okay, we're good. Okay, so here's where I ran into a bit of a hiccup. My plan was to make a replacement flat lens out of plexiglass and then glue the metal frame onto it. I made a stencil for the lens, trimmed it so it fit nicely, but when I tried to test fit it, it didn't fit. The metal frame was too big, so I had 2 choices. Remake the frame, or trim the housing to make it fit. I decided to go with the quicker option and just trim the housing. Use a respirator when doing this. After a couple of test fits, the frame fits snugly. Now we have to glue it in. I decided to go with silicone, so I primered up the frame and the light housing. I used all my strength to get a little bit of silicone out of the half-dried tube. Next up was the wiring. Here again I simplified things. Since I wasn't gonna have a lens for the high beams, I decided to just wire it to the high beam switch. You have to be careful here and make sure that you're soldering the correct wires together, because it's important with LEDs that you connect positive to positive and ground to ground. If you don't, it won't work. So test it out before you solder so you know which wire is which. Now before we put everything back together, we just need to give it one last test on the car. And looks like it works. That's awesome. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Now let's put everything together and I'll show you how it looks like in the dark. That's it. Thank you very much for watching.